Hello, and Merry Christmas. By the time this gets uploaded, it is Christmas Day. I'm obviously recording this on the 11th of November. So yeah, this year's Christmas special is going to be, of course, Doctor Who related, like the first 2 years on this channel have been, and what I've also been doing for the rest of this month or the beginning of this month, was wrapping up the Christmas specials of Doctor Who that I have not seen. I done a video for the remaining David Tennant specials that I needed to review, and I done one for the remaining Matt Smith Christmas specials that I needed to review. And now we're here at Peter Capaldi, yes, the last one. But obviously, as of this video going out, we obviously have, the Christmas special. Not only is it a Christmas special, the first one since 2017, but it's also Ncuti Gatwa's first Christmas special as well. So yeah, anyway, let's dive into this, because I have 4 specials to talk about. We have Last Christmas, we have the wedding, the Husbands of River Song, we have the Return of Dr. Mysterio, and we have Twice Upon a Time, or Twice Upon Time. So yeah, let's get started with Last Christmas. So, all of Capaldi's Christmas specials are ones I have not watched since they aired on December 25th of the year that they came out. Now, Last Christmas is an episode I despised for the longest time. I thought it was shit. It is basically Inception meets Doctor Who meets Christmas meets Father Christmas. Because that's literally what the episode is about. It's about these weird crab face hugger things, rip off of Alien, which they do actually bring up in this episode. It's constantly putting them into different dream sequences as it slowly kills the hosts. And not only that, again, I bring this up because it's relevant for this. This was originally, again, going to be Clara's last episode. She was going to finish up in Series 8. Then, Moffat being Moffat, can't let things be. Convinced her to do the Christmas special Last Christmas. And then whilst filming, convinced her to do another season. So yeah, this would have been Clara's perfect end, for the show. Just have her either be the old version that we run into in one of the dream sequences, or just have her go back to her, normal life. She can pop up every now and again in Series 9. But yeah, what did I think on this rewatch? It's not as bad as I remembered it from 2014, but it's still, out of all Capaldi's Christmas specials, it's the weakest. As I said, it's literally a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream. Inception meets Doctor Who meets Nick Frost as Santa Claus meets Alien, essentially. And now that I've actually watched Alien, I can kind of fully properly understand the reference, because prior to when this episode originally aired, I hadn't. But yeah, not the greatest. Nick Frost was heavily wasted. I liked his interpretation of Santa Claus, and I would like to see him, Nick Frost play Santa Claus in a different medium that isn't Doctor Who. I think he would be perfect for it. But again, Nick Frost was massively wasted. Simon Pegg in season 1, massively wasted. They could have done so much more with those duo. But no, as always, they just fumbled the bag. And it's not the only time that, Doctor Who's fumbled the bag with other British actors from well-known shows. We'll get to it now, actually. And that being the Husbands of River Song. Now, this episode, I remember liking, and it still holds up. It's not a bad Christmas episode. The Doctor reunites with River for the final time. River doesn't immediately recognize the Doctor. She only knows that the Doctor has the 12 bodies. Well, technically 11, but obviously, as we know, David Tennant wasted a regeneration. And that's it. She doesn't know that the Doctor got a new lease of regenerations. Um, so it's fun. It was fun, seeing River essentially, take on the mantle of Doctor for this story, and how she played off of Capaldi. Capaldi saying, "Oh, you must remember me now, don't you?" And she's like, "No, I haven't a fucking clue who you are." And it's not until she's given an amazing speech about the Doctor not loving her, that's when she realizes, oh, he somehow managed to break the rules and get a new lease of regenerations. Fascinating. And then, of course, it ends with another great, speech from, what kind of speech, Rivers talking about how she looked up stories of her and the Doctor, and it always says that it ends with the night on Beryllium, and then the next time she dies not long after that. Obviously, we know that because of Silence in the Library and the Force of the Dead two-parter from series 4, and but all the other the other person that I was mentioning that was wasted, massively wasted, was the head of Hadra Flax. I don't know the actor's name, but he played the principal in The In-Betweeners, and he's a really good actor. But he was massively wasted in this show because you only really see his head, and then towards the end of the episode he gets killed, and he's not really in the episode all that much, and again massively wasted potential on bringing on someone else from like a popular British show, an actor, into Doctor Who, for them to have nothing to do. But that's beside the point. This is also the episode that brings in Matt Lucas. Now, originally in this episode, he had, again, wasted potential. But Matt Lucas then, of course, becomes the recurring character of Nardole in the next Christmas special, plus then all of season 10. And then he makes an appearance at the end of the last Christmas special. And I like him. I grew to like him in series 10 on his first watch, and I liked him again on my rewatch of series 10. I really do like Nardole. But yeah, the Husbands of River Song, really, really good episode. Really good wrap up to the River Song story. And I hope that she doesn't come back in modern Doctor Who after that. It's done. Let her rest. But hey, that's just my opinion. Anyway, moving on to the return of Dr. Mysterio. Yes, Doctor Who took an entire year off in 2016 where we only got one episode, and that being, of course, the return of Dr. Mysterio. Now, again, when this episode originally aired, I absolutely hated it. I hated that it was, just this stupid superhero motif. This is before I got into the, properly into Marvel comics and that. Well, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, to be more precise. But on this rewatch, I was actually kind of looking forward to it. And the reason why I say I was kind of looking forward to it, because AJ, over at AJ's Movie Place, back in August, sent me this Doctor Who Ghost Stories. It was a comic series of 5 comic stories wrapped into the one graphic novel, picking up where essentially the Return of Dr. Mysterio left off. So, my takes on the Return of Dr. Mysterio now that I rewatched it since it first aired in Christmas of 2016. I like it, but there's one person that I really don't like in the entirety of the story, and that is Lucy. Why do you not like Lucy, Michael? It's the fake New York accent that gets me every time, and I couldn't figure it out when the episode first aired. Well, actually, no, I did know. It was the New York accent off of her really bugged the shit out of me because it sounded so shit. And then when I looked into the actress who played her, well, of course it was shit. She's not American. She's from England, and she's putting on a fake New York accent, and it just took me out of the episode every time she spoke, because I'm like, wow, this is really bad. Like, I mean, they couldn't get an actual New York actor. I mean, they got the actor who played Grant. Obviously, I know him from the horrendous live action Dragon Ball Evolution movie that I reviewed back in March. Which, yes, even all these months later, I'm still kicking myself over because I forced myself to rewatch that garbage movie. But obviously, he also appeared in Shameless US, and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, I still know would recognize him from as Giko or Goku in the god awful Dragon Ball Evolution film. Um, but yeah, it's also continuing on. We see the main villain, the Harmony Sol, in the Husbands of River song towards the end. And they're the main villains in this. Turns out they've been here for 5 years, and they've been slowly inching their way into for the full takeover of the planet, and it kind of leaves on a cliffhanger of sorts, where we see one of them was in this German scientist guy, left and ended up in a unit, a unit soldier, and that's it. It's never been brought up again. I mean, there is, of course, as I said, the continuation, kind of, in Ghost Stories, which I did do a review on. So if you want to check out my review of this comic, it is in my Doctor Who reviews and more playlist. But overall, I definitely liked it more on this rewatch. I mean, yeah, it is essentially, Superman meets Doctor Who, because that's just the powers that Grant has. It is essentially one-to-one Superman, because Grant was a massive comic fan, both Marvel and DC, but kind of leaning towards DC, which is going to be funny now if they ever add this onto Disney Plus, because as far as I know, they haven't yet. They haven't announced that they're adding on any of the older episodes of the show. But overall, yeah, I definitely did like the Return of Dr. Mysterio. I especially love the ending. The ending of the Doctor talking about how, everything ends and it's always sad, but then it begins again and everything's happy. Be happy. I butchered that, but you get my what I'm talking about. I love that bit. But now, as I was actually rewatching it, it kind of caused a little bit of confusion. The reason why it caused a bit of confusion, because in the episode the Doctor talks about how he rebuilt Nardole. I mean, he could have in the 24 years he was on Darillium, but we know from series 10 that Nardole links up with the Doctor after Missy's execution, and he has to guard, her vault. Why wasn't there any mention of that in this? Like, I get, this episode was written before Moffat had that idea in mind, but this obviously has to then take place after Missy's execution, and being put into the vault, which then resulted in the Doctor becoming, the professor at the university. So, kind of continuity issue there, since this episode was written prior to Moffat coming up with that. But yeah, I liked it. So now we get on to the last one. The last episode that I have watched up until, the 60th. So I'm now fully done with my Doctor Who rewatch. And that is Twice Upon Time. The multi-Doctor Christmas story with Peter Capaldi's Doctor refusing to regenerate and bringing in back the first Doctor, as he is now refusing to regenerate, which is something we did not know, obviously, when the 10th planet came out. And what I love is the fact that in this episode we not only see clips from the 10th planet, but it also then goes from black and white into color, and it changes from from William Hartley into David Bradley's first Doctor, and they basically reshot a couple of scenes from episode 4 of the 10th planet, which is the only episode to be missing from that story. So that kind of has me wondering, could they, maybe refilm it? They have the script, they have the basic knowledge of what the sets look like. They obviously recast Ben and Polly as well. I don't see. I mean, budget reasons, obviously, of why they couldn't, refilm it. But hey, you never know. I would like to see that happening. We have David Bradley. I would like to see other episodes with him in it that isn't a multi-Doctor story or Big Finish. You know, um, but yeah, I really do love this episode. And to me, might be my favorite regeneration story. Like it's a really good story with the first and 12th Doctor. We get to see Bill back. Obviously, there's the over reliance on, well, not so much over reliance on, but the current running gag of 60s Doctor meets modern day Doctor Who. 60s sexism and all that. Oh, women are made out of glass and that, and only women can be nurses and that. But all in all, I really liked it. I, of course, love David Bradley as the first Doctor. He's no William Hartnell, obviously. You can never replace Bill. You can never replace Bill Hartnell as the first Doctor. Out of the 3 actors that has played him, obviously, the first Doctor, Bill Hartnell, is the best, followed by David Bradley, and then the actor who played him in the 5 Doctors. But yeah, obviously, he done a fantastic job. It was nice seeing not only the exterior to the first Doctor's TARDIS, but the interior as well. Obviously, they kept that left around from An Adventure in Space and Time, the season 9 finale of the show, and then obviously reused it in this. And then it would, of course, get reused again in the Jodie Whittaker era. And I loved Capaldi's speech at the end. I know quite a few people don't like it. I honestly do. I think it's not his best speech. Don't get me wrong. But it's in the top 3 for sure of Capaldi's speeches. And I love the music that they used for his regeneration theme. It just embodied him, Capaldi's Doctor, to a T. And I really loved it. And yeah, it was a good episode. It's definitely his best Christmas special out of the 4 that he got. So I'd say I'd rank it Twice Upon a Time, The Husbands of River Song, The Return of Dr. Mysterio, and Last Christmas, and in last. And that is going to wrap it up. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you also enjoy the start of the Shirti Gatwa era of Doctor Who airing at some point tonight. And yeah, I hope you all also have a very Merry Christmas. And I will catch you all in a couple of days. So I'll see you all next time.